Hello, everyone, and welcome. We have so much to talk about today. This is really, really bothering me. The ceasefire, the historic, wonderful, great, marvelous ceasefire between Israel and the terrorist scum Hamas is being celebrated all over the media. Joe Biden came out and celebrated it. It's historic. It's wonderful. It's great. Donald Trump even claimed credit for it. But it's not so good. And I'm disappointed, I must say. I'm disappointed because I expected better. I expected more. Since Donald Trump has been elected, since Donald Trump's people have been involved in the talks, and when Donald Trump said last week about the hostages, 7 of whom are Americans, still being held by Hamas. He said, if they're not out by the time I get into office, all hell will break out. And he says it wouldn't be good for Hamas, and it wouldn't be good for anybody if they're not released by the time he gets into office. Well, guess what? They're not going to be released by the time he gets into office, because this ceasefire has 3 stages. Stage 1, which takes effect on the allegedly on the day before Donald Trump is sworn in. It'll take effect on Sunday, the 19th. Stage 1 goes on for 42 days. And over the course of that time, this is all reportedly, over the course of that time, 33 hostages will be released. Okay? Now, they're still holding, as far as we're concerned, almost about 100 hostages. So the hostages, if they're not released, they're not going to be released. He didn't say release, 3 of them by the time I take office. He wanted them released. And what's worse, what's worse, and there's a lot bad with it, because there's still women and children and elderly and sick and dead people, okay? But what's worse is, let's talk about the American hostages. We believe 7 American hostages. According to CNN, of the 7, 4 are believed dead. 2 who are presumed alive will be included in the 33 hostages that will be released over the course of stage 1. Okay? There's another one who's an Israeli, an IDF soldier, as well as an Israeli American. He has dual citizenship, I presume. He will not be released in this round. So, and what about the 4 dead bodies? Why can't we get them? Maybe some of them, well, they're not included, according to CNN. Only 2 living Americans will be released among the first 33 hostages over the first 42 days, stage 1. That's not what Donald Trump said. That's not what Donald Trump said at all. Why is Hamas allowed to do this? A bunch of terrorist scum. What position of strength are they in? Why is Israel agreeing to this garbage? It's just not right. Now, as far as the Americans go, I hope I pronounced the names right. Keith Siegel from North Carolina. He's 60 years old. He is, according to CNN, will be released. Also, Sagi Dekelchen, 35 years old. And Don Alexander, who's in the IDF as well as being an American, he will not be released. And again, then we have, those are the 3 presumed living. Then we have 4 dead Americans whose bodies will not even be released in stage 1, which is 42 days long. That pretty much sucks. It sucks if you're Biden, and it really sucks if you're Trump. I'm sorry. It really sucks if you're Trump. After what you said. I don't get it. There's so much I don't get. Now, the Latin Times, I'm not very familiar with them, but they're legit, apparently. The Latin Times, I mean, they're legit, says that they're reporting that Trump told Benjamin Netanyahu, and by the way, part of this deal is it's not just Hamas releasing 33 prisoners over 42 days, some alive, some dead. It's also Israel's going to release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners from their prisons, including convicted terrorists, murderers, thugs. You explain that to me. What leverage does Hamas have anymore? Why is this happening? Okay, so you got that, plus Israel has to withdraw out of big parts of Gaza to form a perimeter. What is that about? And what else do we have? That's basically most of it. There are some other parts of it, naturally, which I could tell you if I could get to this. Okay, phase one. Terrorists with life sentences, some of whom they will be released. And this is 42 days, 33 hostages. Okay, so then they negotiate and hope to get to phase two. But the Latin Times says, when you ask, why would Bibi do this? Why would Benjamin Netanyahu agree to this crap? And to me, the reasons here aren't good enough. And they don't say these are the reasons. They just report that, oh, by the way, Trump reportedly, told Bibi Netanyahu that you withdraw under the agreement, and after you withdraw, if you feel the need, you got to go in again, I'll support you. That's a kind of a side agreement. And Trump will cancel Joe Biden's economic sanctions against residents of the West Bank. He just imposed even more sanctions against certain residents of the West Bank because he doesn't like the way they act. Okay, Biden. So he'll get rid of that, Trump said. And Trump said he will go to war with the International Criminal Court, the ICC, which put out a warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister. And Trump said he'll go to war with them. Now, if I'm Benjamin Netanyahu, all of that isn't enough. And if I'm Donald Trump, I'm saying, wait, 2 Americans? And they're holding another one alive, and they're going to hold 4 dead bodies? No, you get them out now. Not to mention the other hostages that he presumably was talking about last week when he said, if they're not out by the time I get into office, all hell will break out. So I'm disappointed. And then there's talk about, I know it's premature, but the eventuality, living in peace with the Palestinian Authority will eventually take over Gaza. Now, these are reports. I don't know. Are you kidding me? The Palestinian Authority, who has never condemned October 7th, who pay terrorists to go kill Jews, and once they kill Jews, they get paid if they're still alive. If not, their families get paid. Who teach in textbooks that are used in their schools to kill the Jew? That Palestinian Authority? This is all mind-boggling. And I'm shocked and disappointed at this deal. I know I don't have a loved one who's a hostage, and maybe I don't get it. But you got to do what's good for the greater country, for the future of the country and the people of the country. And capitulating to these animals and rewarding them by releasing hundreds of convicted people from Israeli jails and letting them slowly leak out prisoners. And I'm disappointed that Trump's not insisting at least in the American interest, that all American prisoners get released now. Not 2, but the 7. Even the 4 that we presume are dead, according to CNN. So that's my take. I'm angry. I'm disappointed, and I'm at a loss for words, a little, kind of. And I know I'm not alone. It doesn't make a lot of sense. One other thing. If you saw Biden at his press conference claiming credit for all this, good. You take the credit for this crappy anti-Israel deal, pro-terrorist scum deal. You take the credit. if you saw Biden and Kamala sitting there next to, or standing there next to him, and at the end, he was asked, because he acknowledged that Trump's people were in on the negotiations at the end also, and he was asked who gets most of the credit. I wrote it down somewhere. Who gets most of the credit, or who gets all of the credit? Who gets most of the credit? I'm paraphrasing. This was the last question he was asked before he left for securing this deal. You or President Trump? He grins. He grins that smile and says, "Is that a joke?" and walks away. Good. Let this be your legacy. But, of course, the media builds it up, and they want to give him a Nobel Peace Prize for this. Baloney. This is giving victory to Hamas. I'm sorry. That's the way I see it. I don't see it. Oh, and another thing. Finally, supplies will be allowed in, to the Gaza Strip for the people. You know why supplies were stopped? They were coming in because Hamas would hijack the trucks. No drivers would bring NGO or organizational drivers would drive the trucks into Gaza because they'd be attacked. They'd be attacked by residents who want the supplies, or more likely by Hamas members who would take the supplies. So give me a break. Give me a break. All right, folks. Please subscribe. Just go look down, subscribe to this, share this, pass it around, tell your friends, and until we meet again, stay safe.